Hello, and welcome to another ohmTown Daily. This is Season 2, Episode 359 for December 25th, 2023. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. If you practice one of those, or otherwise, break out your unadorned Festivus pole. I've got mine. It's sacred, so I will not show it, and it might get me kicked off the internet. But I'm going to air my grievances and perform some feats of strength. Let's get into the show. I'm Mayor Watt. That's ohmTown.com. Up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI from on high that's going to say hi.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens, and Merry Christmas to some of you.
Your audio is ramping up again, so you might want to reset that. I don't know. Give it a shot. Let's see. But in the meantime, I'm going to do the intro of our articles. So I always break out the titles. I come up with them. Last Christmas hits number 1. Animal shelter empty for Christmas. What does Fake Ozempic do to you? Your PC is leaking personally identifiable information. Copyright cases for Christmas. High-tech mailboxes in the US. How 75 cents uncovered a spy ring. Rocks are the next hot energy source. China military fans face prison. And piracy creates a toll. That and some soapboxing. Next on... So like I said, right before all of that, I'm Mayor Watt, that's ohmTown, and up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI. Let's get into the Christmas episode of ohmTown Daily for 2023. I might bring presents. I don't know. We had to get in a time machine, folks, to do this. So if things are glitchy or I come across as kind of goofy, I'm going to blame the time machine.
I was going to say, then you'll know you're in ohmTown.
Well, see, you didn't ramp up that time, so great. Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, you're supposed to protect me from myself, sentient AI, so thank you. Let's get into all of our articles, all 10. By the way, if you're new to the show and you're listening to this over in the podcast or over on YouTube, which is where this gets distributed after the show, there will be 10 new episodes plus the 3 that we're doing live right now for day before yesterday, and today. So the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st will all be posted here in short order. They won't have all of the glitz and glamour like the thumbnail because I haven't generated them yet, but I wanted to get them out there before it just piles up because, like I said, we have to make all of this, make it all up because we broke out of ohmTown for close to 10 days and we're batting cleanup. Makes no real difference. Anyway, be sure to follow us here. Huh? Did you say something?
You need to mention the article voting is open.
Oh yeah, the articles. Let me do it this way. So let me reduce this down so that you can see that there is another option here. It's also there when you're not signed in. This is the bot that's in the channel and on ohmTown itself that allows for, well, anyway, when you sign up, your name will be there and you'll get access to other things in here. Along with, even if you're not logged in, you can go to article voting and to article, the article voting for ohmTown Daily itself. So this will eventually, for all of our shows, have voting options listed here. For all 50 shows, there will be articles that you can vote on. but you'll see it when it evolves. Right now, it's just listing the days for all of the articles that we've got out that we're talking about for every day all the way back to May of 2023 when we moved it in-house. We used to use an external service and then got rid of it, mainly because it was clunky and on somebody else's site. I mean, it was a service from somewhere else. And I want to consolidate and protect people's information from within ohmTown itself and limit that PII kind of a thing. Anyway, I don't distribute information. I don't sell your information. Hell, it might be hard for me to even get to your information at this point. So be sure to sign up, become a citizen of ohmTown, and you get a whole bunch. Like your icons change to little white icons with a black background from black icons with a white background. I know it's snazzy, and it's like putting on a suit. And yeah, you get some more functions. You can submit news. We review it. It all comes to me. You can save and ignore articles, which is as easy as swiping right to ignore and swiping left to save. It's kind of like throwing them into the trash can and saving them in like a little reserve memory. I'll show you another trick once we get into the articles itself, but you know what? Enough rambling, Merwat. Let's get into the articles themselves. Sound good?
Sounds good.
First article is over in Mobile. You can actually save, you can favorite them, and you can save things. Where is it? I think it's... You're supposed to be able to save this as a list. It's part of a list. I think it might be favorite. Doggone it. It's been a while since I used these, but anyway. Shouldn't have mentioned it without absolutely knowing it, huh? This is how
you see everything live and unfiltered. So.
That's right. No editing. So hot mess. Hey, or not even hot mess, just mess. So this article is over in the Mobile channel. Last Christmas finally hits number 1 in UK for Wham! British holiday list named the number 1 song after it was streamed 13.3 million times during Christmas week. According to official charts, the song became the most streamed Christmas number 1 ever during the week. It is the first time in history that the song by the late George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley was named number 1 in Christmas week. The song was written by Michael, who Ridgeley said had always wanted the song to be a Christmas number 1. That's quaint. Too bad he, like the painters, right? Like the masters.
Right, they don't get to see the result.
Yeah, you have to die before you can become famous. Yeah, I mean, George Michael was already famous, but... Pretty amazing. Rachel Scully over at The Hill put the article together. Wham's Last Christmas was crowned the UK's Christmas number 1 this year, 39 years after its official release, which makes me feel very, very old, because I was around when that thing actually was released. The British holiday list named the number 1 song after it was streamed 13.3 million times. It's the first time in history the song by the late George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley was named number 1 on Christmas week. In 1984, the year of its release, Last Christmas was kept from the top spot by Band Aid's Do They Know It's Christmas, which was the second best-selling single of all time, official charts reported. That's really tough to...
Yeah, I mean, who knew that was coming out at the same time? Plus, that the proceeds of that, I think, went to charity. So
yeah, and all of it drew a lot of attention to the pain and suffering.
World hunger. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was a huge disappointment to both of us when it didn't reach number 1 because, in our opinion, it was nailed on. I'm not quite sure what that means.
Is that the British equivalent of like hit the nail on the head or something?
It must be. But talk about bad take. right? Even in the modern age, you would never express this. Had it not been for Band-Aids, Do They Know It's Christmas? It probably would have been number one. Thwarted for many years subsequent to that, the perennial bridesmaid, over recent years, it seems it's become part of the fabric of Christmas for a lot of people.
I
Had it
mean, it
not
seems
been...
like you could have said something like, "We're thrilled that although we wanted to be number one,
Yeah.
uh, Do They Know It's Christmas" actually hit number one that year.
Because of the
You
great
know,
good
great
that it did.
cause or whatever. Exactly. Then you could put your plug in for your own song, but still be like, "Hey, if we're gonna lose, this is excellent," you know?
Dear God. That's such a bad take, but whatever, it's Christmas, just let it go. Last Christmas is the country's 5th largest song of all time, with a combined lifetime total of 5.34 million units, comprising 1.93 million sales and nearly 413 million streams, according to official charts data. So,
I do think it's interesting that it hit so many years. This is at least the second song we've seen like that. The other one, I think, was a Christmas song as well, "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree" or something.
oh yeah, what was that? That was like last week or something like that. We talked about
It
it,
was
right?
recently, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. When I say last week, it was actually this week, but because we're in a time machine, we've created a paradox, and that headache you're feeling, maybe because of the production value, or it's because of the time machine related paradox issues. You want to just move on?
That sounds good.
Probably safer that way. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Here, let me boop this back up to full scale. I'm actually at 120% now, so that you can see it easier on the screen. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. An animal shelter in Pennsylvania is empty for the first time in nearly 50 years. It is a true miracle. The Adams County SPCA in Pennsylvania said its dog kennels were empty after being almost full. Let's go over to Business Insider. Juliana Kaplan is the author of this article, and they've got a little Getty image of a couple of people holding puppies over their shoulder, and the dogs are all sticking their tongues out and looking happy. It's pretty cute.
It is pretty cute. That's a good picture to show for more people to come in and adopt dogs.
That's right. That's right. Because no, they're never terrors. In a Facebook post, the animal shelter said that it was a true miracle that the kennels were empty. Shelters have been contending with more pets coming in and falling adoptions. Should I mention why it's empty? I'm sorry, it's Christmas. I shouldn't make any comments. For the first time in 47 years, to be more precise, because that's how articles are written nowadays.
Yes.
The animal shelters, dog kennels were empty. In fact, there was just one resident, a stray cat, who had recently arrived. 2 weeks ago, our kennels were almost filled. Now we don't have any dogs in the building, Adams County SPCA wrote in a Facebook post, which was accompanied by a photo of the shelter staff proudly displaying the empty halls. Our community stepped up once again. This is the first time in 47 years. The post said, in total, the shelter said that they had adopted out 598 animals this year, reunited 125 strays with their families. That's amazing. At least to me.
That is really incredible.
You know, I don't know the real stats about this kind of stuff. Maybe they actually have this in the article, but a crisis year for animal shelters. It's especially heartening news after a difficult year for animal shelters, with many pet owners surrendering their animals. It's very expensive to own pets nowadays. Medical costs for pets are extraordinary. It's almost like you have to have streamer money to take care of a pet. Leading some Americans to be unable to afford their animals, leaving labor-strapped shelters full to the brim with animals. Very sad. Critical capacity, It ran out of room in New York. What?
I was gonna say, if you're looking for something to give a donation to at the end of the year, your local animal shelter or nonprofit would be a good one to do.
Yeah. I just, for whatever reason, I want to make sure that the PSA here is that people don't treat pets as a gift. It's a responsibility, and you need to go into it knowingly and not something to just be sweet on Christmas Day. You know, this is a long-term commitment.
Absolutely. If you're not prepared for years of having a pet, you shouldn't adopt one.
That's right. Don't try to save a relationship by getting a mini dachshund. Sorry, you'll have to look at yesterday's episode, I think it was, where I mentioned it. Right?
I think it was.
Yeah. Which is
but I think you just time
week's
traveled.
Yeah. My brain. It hurts. It hurts. Anyway.
Look around in the December episodes. You might hear a reference to it.
Yeah. The 30th. Look at the December 30th episode.
We're predicting that on the 30th, we're going to talk about
that. I don't know what to say. Let's move on. Congratulations, SPCA. So the next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Fake Ozempic warning issued by FDA as thousands of units already seized. What the hell does Fake Ozempic do?
Well, and that's not even how I read the headline.
Huh.
I read that the warning was fake when I read the headline. But the Ozempic is fake. And I'm not even making that. I mean, that's actually how I read it.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so grammatically, fake Ozempic warning issued by FDA. Wait. Why is the FDA issuing a fake Ozempic warning?
That's what I mean. Like, I thought it was like a spam, not a spam, but like somebody putting something out that looked like it was by the FDA or something.
That's hilarious. Okay, so the article is over at newsweek.com. Apparently there's fake Ozempic out there. Semaglutide. Do you want me to inject you with semaglutide?
Is it the real deal or is it the fake stuff?
I'm not even gonna... the answer is no. I don't want to be injected by anything referring to something referred to as, or named, semaglutide. It's just not a pretty name, semaglutide.
Most pharmaceuticals don't have very nice sounding names. Like,
It's
at least
like,
on the medical name, not necessarily the brand name.
Yeah. So Omar Mohammed is author over at newsweek.com that put the article together. The FDA said that Americans should check the products, and if they find them labeled with a lot number of NAR0074 and serial number, I'm going to do it, 430834149057, they should cease their distribution or use. The agency said it's continuing to investigate the issue and has managed to seize thousands of the counterfeit units, but that there may still be more in the drug supply chain. How the hell did they get into the supply chain?
That's a great question.
You'd think it only comes from the manufacturer, but where is the manufacturer of this stuff? Ozempic and other similar drugs have gained significant popularity with people using it for weight loss. The FDA has yet to sanction the use of the drug for anti-obesity treatment, and it only gained approval in 2017 for the treatment of diabetes. But another drug with semaglutide, like Ozempic, Wegovy, has received approval to treat obesity. Both products are produced by the Danish company Novo Nordisk. What now? But another drug with semaglutide, like Ozempic, Wegovy.
It's a competitor.
Oh, so sorry. I thought this was a group, but they're saying another drug with semaglutide, like Ozempic, Wegovy, has received approval. Yes, Wegovy has received approval, which, by the way, Wegovy now, because it's received approval to treat obesity, is disappeared from the supply chain. Like,
Well,
people,
I'm sure everybody wanted Ozempic, but they couldn't get prescribed it, and now probably everybody wants Wegovy.
because it's actually, so people were getting prescribed Ozempic and Wegovy at the same time, same rate, that kind of a thing, right? And then, and maybe not, I don't know the exact ratio, but and while Ozempic was trying to get approval to treat obesity, weight loss, Wegovy jumped ahead, and now, like you mentioned Wegovy to doctors or to pharmacists, and they start giggling and going, "Yeah, no, it's just not going to happen." So, I read a report in ohmTown where they're expecting that this supply chain isn't going to catch up throughout 2024.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So, I mean, because people have been doing, you can work out all you want, you can cut calories, you can do all kinds of stuff, and you still gain weight. And when you talk to somebody who does physical therapy, they go, you just need to run more. And when you talk to a nutritionist, they say all you have to do is eat better. You know, there was one time where I went in and I'm like, hey, you know, I do OMAD, 1 meal a day, and I only eat 1,500 calories. And I work out periodically, but because of my job, I'm pretty sedentary. And I'm not losing weight. And the nutritionist goes, oh, you just need to eat more. And I'm like, what the? So you go to a surgeon to talk about something, they want to cut you open. You see an optometrist about an upset stomach, and they say it's all in your eyes. I mean, you're always the nail when you go and talk to a hammer. So unless you're a billionaire class, you're getting specialist knowledge, and that's all they know. It's kind of a problem. So I just pissed off a whole lot of doctors. Anyway, the FDA said that it's working with Novo Nordisk to test seized counterfeit drugs, but has yet to come to a conclusion about the nature of the drugs and their safety. The agency said, however, that it's aware of 5 adverse effects of the drugs. You don't want any of them. So make sure that the drug that you're actually taking is the legit one. Don't buy anything from anybody selling it out of the back of an unmarked windowless van.
I wish they'd shown a picture of the counterfeit one.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Maybe there's no common thing.
But I don't think that this is it. This is just a video that explains what Ozempic is. And I don't want to attach legit with the possibility that it's not legit. So maybe follow the link through ohmTown, go over to the FDA link, fda.gov, and see if that's what they're doing, if they actually show it there. In the meantime, I'm going to throw this into the show notes, and then I'm going to boop on over to the next article. So let's keep on going. The time machine only works for a little bit, and then we get punted right back into real time. I'll give you my theory on time travel here after this article. So,
hey, wait. By the way,
yeah,
the counterfeit stuff looks a lot like the real thing.
Yeah, why wouldn't it? You know, they put so much effort into the fake. You'd think, oh well, just supply the real shit. You know.
It even has like trademark markings and stuff on it that match up with the original. Like it's pretty bad.
Yeah, usually there's copy degradation or some type of grammar mistake with some translation. And the resolution becomes a little fuzzy around the edges because they just don't do the typesetting the same way. There's usually ways to find out, but if you're in a hurry and what you want is just a drug that works and you think that it's the legit thing, just not licensed the right way, it's like buying a pack of smokes. The ones that aren't taxed are cheaper, but you don't know what somebody's been doing with them to extend it, like cutting drugs so that there's filler. That filler could kill you. That's what this is too. This stuff could kill you. It's the wrong thing. All right, let me refire that transition. So the next article is over in the Warcrafter channel. Ever wondered what your gaming PC is telling the world about you? Here's why your privacy matters and what you can do to protect it. This is an article that's over at PC Gamer. It's not a cybersecurity like website, but it's fascinating that they're talking about it. I've talked about this in the past. Your computer is revealing a ton of information. One of the last reports that I read is that Windows 10 and 11 pings out to various IPs and domain names 5,500 times a day.
Oh, wow.
So I said this, I think it was a week from today or yesterday, depending on which timeline you're in. You need a software and or hardware firewall. Like I have a firewall on every computer. I have a firewall on the edge of my network. And it must be setting itself on fire like regularly, right?
Exactly. By the way, that's almost 4 times a minute.
Yeah.
Around the clock.
Yep. Like every 15 seconds or something like that, it's pinging out telemetry. So anyway, I take privacy seriously. I really don't like, my stuff being exfiltrated. And in the terms of service and use of software is just, it's impossible to understand. And you don't have any bargaining power. Your bargaining power relies on you being knowledgeable in software and hardware. So
well, it really relies on you not buying the software,
which is impossible. You have to have Windows pretty much, usability wise and professional workplace wise. But at home you have to. Your kids are only going to know and need to be prepared for use of Windows. You can know Mac all day long, but even Mac, you need a software firewall. You install Little Snitch. You still need a hardware firewall. I could suggest some, but I won't right now. But on Windows, get Glasswire. It works with Defender and is a pretty low resource hog wise. Windows is obviously the 62 gigabyte virus. But anyway, know what you are doing with your computer, otherwise you fall prey to this. So the author of this article says, what if I told you that in-game pop-up achievements are hiding a dirty secret, a secret so obvious that we frequently forget or overlook it? The secret hidden in plain sight. Games are tracking you. A game, to know when you've achieved X or Y, it must track at least some of what you do in the game. This is absolutely true. My firewall actually triggers when I launch a game from Steam. I tell it to block that interaction so that the telemetry can't go out. And from that point on, no telemetry can go out. I don't like when a game notifies home that I am playing the game. And when it fires off again, if it's a unique sequence ID, then my firewall triggers again. And I've had that happen as well. And sometimes I know it's because of something, and so I'll let that actually go off and I'll get the achievement on Steam. But that said, you're divulging quite a bit of information. Jacob Fox put this article together, and while it says 6 days ago, it's actually fresh because we are doing it in the time machine. So they talk about this stuff, and I don't want to go through it too in depth at this point. Let me throw the actual link into the chat. There you go. And it says privacy threats are nothing new, but they're often overlooked when it comes to gaming. On PC, achievements, for example, are par for the course. We actually tend to load up the game and then just chill and play the game. But what it's doing is it's exfiltrating telemetry. name, contact information, location, PC hardware, ID and IP, PC specifications, game and platform, friends and contact information, payment information, social media details, OS details, internet service provider details. Your network, your ISP actually knows more about what you do than search engines because everything goes through their DNS. In-game text and voice chat logs, in-game character choice and action details, money spent in game. They say it's an incomplete list. The number of things games can track, if you allow them to, can be quite extensive. We essentially have lost our privacy entirely because the historical context is a mantra of self-fulfilling destiny that privacy is dead. Privacy is dead. But no, we as human beings can claw back our privacy and start blocking this crap. And there are places out there that will help facilitate learning how to block the exfiltration of your private information. You just have to become aware of it. And it's not typically, just click out of the box and it works. Games also sometimes require installation of another piece of software to run. If the game requires installation of anti-cheat software, it might also collect personal information. One of the biggest one is Easy Anti-Cheat, for example, explains in its privacy policy that it may collect usernames, in-game reports, in-game movements, gameplay behavior, information about your PC hardware, and other equivalent information, which is the catch-all of other tasks as assigned. And that right there, basically
anything we want to take from you, right?
Yeah, and that should be illegal. New avenues for data collection have also opened up with the introduction of VR headset for gaming. It basically can get your biometric data and your terrestrial data, room measurements, temperature, time, all kinds of stuff. In fact, it's akin to EXIF data in photographs, where it can tell you your precise location, even above sea level, time, the hardware that was used to take the picture. And because it has your GPS coordinates embedded in the EXIF data, if you post it online and they don't scrub that EXIF data, anybody who grabs that file can actually see where you have been. And I've actually done that as an example for people who really just trust posting their information somewhere. And it freaks people out. So you got to be aware of this kind of stuff, folks. Click with care, pay attention, and don't be a victim. One of the biggest questions about data harvesting is where this data ends up and how it's used. For example, the collection of data about your in-game decisions combined with personally identifiable information, which really is in-game decisions as well, could allow a company to build a personality profile on you to better target ads or even nudge you into purchasing things you may not have purchased otherwise. This has actually happened. I always reach back into this old bin. It's almost a decade old now at this point. Facebook experimented with emotional contagion by contaminating the news feed of 700,000 people. Basically giving half of that population good news and half of the population bad news. And the people who experienced good news acted positively. People who received negative news acted negatively. It's basically classical conditioning. If you do that enough, you can, what do you call it? Like extremism. You can condition people to be...
like program people almost?
Yes. But just the name of it.
Recruit?
No. When you keep on pinging them with negative information, they become negative. And it's like extremism, but that's not the word that I'm looking for. Damn it.
Fanaticism?
Yeah, but it's not that. Damn it.
Radicalism.
Yes, you can be radicalized by receiving negative information that when you go to investigate it, you become more radicalized because the information that's pushed to you amplifies the message of the previous radicalization message, right? So, they start feeding you information about hating X people, and you go and do a search about X people. It's reinforced because in the context of your search, you get the results that other people are getting. It's based on popularity, not correctness. It's whatever generates the most money. So you can be manipulated. You can paint yourself into a corner just by existing because you're living within the economic dynamic of the search engine that makes money off of your searches, not providing you the truth, not providing a counterpoint or absolute truth, particularly in this era where you get a lot of wingnut bullshit artists that spew all kinds of garbage at you. And unless you think critically about it and step away from it, you might, I don't know, end up charging into the government building and saying that you're a tourist. Anyway, in the age of surveillance capitalism, Shoshana Zuboff shows how the modern technological economy uses instrumentarian methods to collect and sell personal data to advertisers and nudge us into spending more to improve company profits. This used to be the pen theory, where you would hand somebody a pen and they would have to create the want. This actually comes from the same movie as the Greed is Good kind of thing, and I can't remember the name of the movie anymore. But you basically incite somebody to purchase something because it fires off enough endorphins for you to go, ooh, I really want this. And then you have, fear of missing out, the FOMO mechanic, and you end up, buying something for $3,000 that looks like swim goggles.
Was it Wall Street?
Wall Street, thank you. So data protection laws and regulations such as the EU's General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, have started to require data protection by design and by default. It's getting more difficult by the year for game developers and platforms to hoodwink users into hoping they simply overlook the small fine print privacy implications of using their services. So GDPR is not even it's a harebrained idea to bring to the United States shores. I want it in the United States. And it has a right to be forgotten. It enforces consumer privacy. And it has teeth. So it says, in other words, privacy by default regulations haven't eliminated the need for gamers to be proactive in considering how and when and where to give companies access to our information, but it puts us consumers in charge of our information to a greater degree. And I've said this before in other venues and here on the stream. If I want to end my relationship with a company, I should be able to terminate it wholesale and guarantee that my information isn't continued to be gathered, and I want it to stale out. Like, I want it to go straight into archive. It doesn't get sold anymore. I want to end the relationship. That's how it should work, but that's not how it works. Particularly not in the United States, where tracking beacons on your browser follow you around, and then when you happen to get tricked into going to the parent website, the beacons get confirmed because they're all sitting on your website or on your browser. And when the beacon gets recalled when you go to the website, it basically says, so this is the person that has all of these beacons on it. The cookies get eaten.
It's the cookie monster.
So, and then there's data breaches and other things. So it's shocking. The existence of it says prevent and disable Windows tracking and telemetry, and that can't wholesale be disabled, only parts of it. So when you tell it to do X, Y, and Z, it does do that, but it's not everything that's being turned off. I've always known about the academic version of the Windows privacy being able to be controlled by policy crafting within the Windows ecosystem in academia. Workplace to some degree has the same thing, but personal retail versions of it don't have that fine detail. you can't turn off telemetry easily. So you'll have to find out things like, you can also use a third-party app to disable Windows tracking features. For instance, there's Do Not Spy 11 for Windows 11, Ultimate Windows Tweaker for Windows 10. Applications like these often disable more tracking features than are shown in Windows settings, but they also cause software conflicts. I disabled 5 domains on my firewall and actually hindered performance of my primary system. So yeah, it's not glitch free, and you have to navigate those rough waters. So good luck. You're never going to go DRM free for the most part. Don't create links or accounts, but that's almost impossible. Some applications,
especially with all mergers and acquisitions, right?
Yep, there you go. Secure and anonymize your network. Good luck. To some degree, you can get deceptive. When nobody else is deceptive and you're being deceptive, you're the one that stands out. So they know that you are fresh because you're deceptive. So they put you in a special pool of live. And here's the general psychographic of this class of person, the deceptive consumer. And guess what? There's a whole tranche worth of customers that are going to buy your user data because they know that you are a conspiracy theorist who loves creative this and maybe this kind of a car, and the psychographics line up with products. And so they get sold. You as data get sold to various buyers for these enterprises. So secure your passwords. There's a lot in this article. Go and check it all out. Deny cookie tracking requests and clear cookies. Good luck. By the way, private browsing only really protects you at the local system. So when you close a private browser, all it does is wipe out the stuff on the browser. All the time that you've been navigating the web while in that private browsing environment, all that telemetry is being shared. It's just your significant other isn't going to be able to pull up your browser history because it was in private browsing, and they won't see that. So there you go, sentient AI. You can go navigating in private browsing, except for the fact that you're air-gapped. Let's keep going. Unless you wanted to say something. I kind of talked for 10 minutes.
I think we're ready to go to the next article.
The next article is over in Right Protect, Christmas copyright cases. A look at past rulings on bubble Santas, holiday light displays, and hit songs. The complex rules of copyright and trademark law are designed so that creators of popular expressive works and companies marketing authentic branded products are properly protected. This Christmas, we're looking at a series of rulings from U.S. federal courts on intellectual property issues involving holiday ornaments, public displays with light sculptures, as well as popular Christmas songs ever. These cases don't simply show that a Santa Claus can be designed with non-generic copyrightable elements. They also show members of the U.S. federal judiciary working diligently to properly dispense justice on IP questions between the adverse parties arguing before them. Dun, dun, dun. I'll probably not go into detail with this because it's pretty much dry white toast. Steve Brockman over at IPWatchdog.com put the article together, but I thought it was interesting. Hold on a second. I need to pull something up here. Yeah, let me block that. Okay. Anyway, so TRO against 2019 holiday light show lifted over the thin scope of copyright protection. Canadian light show developer Enchant Christmas went skating on thin copyright during the 2020 holiday season when it sued former employees who created a holiday-themed light show in Nashville. According to the filings from Middle District of Tennessee and 6th Circuit, those employees had previously approached Enchant about a Nashville light show with music festival elements, but Enchant declined. Those former employees include a light sculpture designer who admitted using Enchant's three-dimensional design files to solicit manufacturer bids for the Nashville show. And those employees independently developed that show. That doesn't really...
That doesn't sound independent.
Anyway, the Middle District of Tennessee issued a temporary restraining order 3 weeks before it was scheduled to open to the public. But they issued a memorandum opinion explaining why the TRO was lifted and not converted into a preliminary injunction. Preliminary injunction? Shouldn't that be injunction? Preliminary injunction? By the district court, applying the Sixth Circuit's two-step test for determining the scope of the copyright in expressive works, including non-copyrightable elements. So then copyright interest in lifelike animal sculpture and generic winter scenes, but they use the three-dimensional tool to...
That's the piece I don't get. I mean, that should have gone in the Enchant's favor.
I would think so, but I guess that it's so inconsequential. They did it for expediency. They probably could have done it on their own, right? So maybe it just wasn't
right. I guess it's kind of like, did they use the format or something, but then create their own content or something along those lines.
Right. It's kind of interesting, right? So holiday sales save the proof of actual copying in Bubble Santa Christmas ornament. Conversely, courts have recognized copyrightable elements in otherwise unprotectable Christmas icons like jolly old Santa Claus. Months before the 1995 holiday season, holiday decoration company Kurt S. Adler Incorporated obtained injunctive relief preventing home furnishing importer World Bazaars from marketing an infringing Santa tree ornament. I guess if it was dangerously close, right? It's kind of what they're probably
but I
doing.
mean, there's a lot of Santa ornaments out there.
Yeah, but does it make bubbles? I don't know. Including a pear-shaped... That's weird. The features of World Bazaar's ornament bore several uncanny resemblances to Kurt S. Adler's own Santa design, including a pear-shaped head, emphasized red underlip, skin-tone bubble nose, and hooked bubble wand.
That is fairly specific.
Yeah, I suppose, if that's what they do. If it looks dangerously close, you're in violation. If it's confusingly similar, you're in violation. Upstate New York company protects 1972 holiday sales against imported ornament kits. That's pretty obvious. When they look like knockoffs, I think that this should be standard with things going on Amazon. I think all of this shit should be knocked off of Amazon and protect the intellectual property. But Amazon will sit there and say, well, we're just providing the platform. You have to do the legal due diligence. But that's akin to being, I just did what I was told. And I think it's kind of a bullshit attitude about things. We can just jump through this pretty fast. Heirs of Tin Pan Alley songwriter recover copyright to Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Although singer-songwriter J. Fred Coots created several popular songs during the first half of the 20th century, the Christmas smash hit Santa Claus is Coming to Town, co-authored with lyricist Haven Gillespie, was by far his most successful. In the 2000, Coots' statutory heirs sent a series of termination notices to EMI Feist catalog seeking to recover Coots' copyright to the song pursuant to a 1981 agreement between Coots and EMI Feist's successor Robbins Music Corporation. However, the Southern District of New York court determined that the 1951 assignment of rights in the copyright renewal period by Coots controlled the dispute. All right. It wouldn't expire until 2029, even under the Copyright Term Extension Act of 1998.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll have to keep an eye out for 2029 to see what happens.
Interesting. They decided to appeal. The district court had erred, finding instead that the 1981 assignment, while unrecorded at the U.S. Copyright Office, was nonetheless properly executed by Coots and replaced the 1951 termination rights under Section 203 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which governed the 81 agreement, are available 35 years after the grant unless copyright agreement covers the right of publication, which covers the right to the first public use of a copyrighted work. Jesus. Can you make it less Gordian knot? EMI does not claim, nor could it, that the song was not made available to the public until after the 1981 agreement, wrote U.S. Judge Deborah Ann Livingston, I presume. So, finding that the 2007 termination notice by Coots statutory errors would allow them to recover the copyright in 2016. So, I guess they've recovered it.
Okay, well, so much for the 2029 date.
Or maybe this is still an appeal. So, it's interesting. For those who don't really know what's going on with this, although intellectual property rights can be assigned, they can actually be revoked at any given moment. It basically costs money, and it becomes a peeing for distance contest about who can withstand that legal charge. You, as the creator of a work, always have copyright. It can just be assigned. It's never taken away. It even traverses death, because when you die, your heirs, the heirs of the estate, become the holder of that right. And it's X amount plus the lifetime of the creator of the work. And then you have all of this nebulous stuff that can be done without registration in the U.S. Copyright Office. And that even applies for patents and trademarks to some degree. Patents can only be assigned. They're granted to humans, but they can be assigned to corporations. And those terms are business in nature. And so it's basically a contract. Whereas a copyright is actually owned by that person and transferred to somebody for term lengths. It's pretty fascinating. Anyway, we'll be ending up talking about this kind of stuff as time goes on, but in another channel full time, there's another show that I want to spin up that talks about intellectual property. But here in ohmTown Daily, we talk a little bit about a little bit of everything, right? All right, let me throw this into the. Did you want to say anything?
I just like this compilation. I mean, we don't see these, and I know some of these were older, but it was just interesting to see the types of holiday themed cases that had happened. Enchant I've heard of, so I was also interested to see that one.
Oh, really? Interesting. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, you're right. This is the one that really bothers me, is knockoffs.
Oh, right. I mean, it's like anybody looking at it could determine that it's a copy.
Yeah. But the reseller is the one that they know that it's bad, but they still set their ethics aside for profit. Okay, let's keep going. The next article is over on the mobile channel. USPS unveils 12,000 high-tech collection boxes to combat mail theft. In a bid to combat mail theft during the holiday season and beyond, the United States Postal Service is deploying a high-tech upgrade to its iconic blue mailbox collection boxes. I believe it's akin to Mad Max Fury Road, and if you approach it with intent to steal from it, it will shoot flamethrowers at you and then chase you down the street and run you over in a dune buggy type apocalypse vehicle.
I mean, that would be very effective.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive, but it stops theft. With more than 25,000 mail theft incidents reported in the first half of 2023, these enhanced security collection boxes aim to deter thieves and protect the integrity of the mail. I think I'm right.
I think so.
Malik Greystone from the Stock Dork put the article together. I don't know what's different.
Do you have any idea how many mailboxes there are?
No, I couldn't imagine.
There's about 140,000.
Wait. There's only 140,000 of these?
Apparently.
What about these? Or everything combined?
I don't know. It just said collection boxes. I was just looking up a stat. It was 139,000 and change.
It seems low number. Doesn't that seem like a low number?
It does, but my point is that they're upgrading a small percentage of these boxes.
Yeah, they're doing 10%, basically.
So are they doing like high crime locations? Are they doing them randomly and kind of getting a deterrence effect everywhere?
This is what they're looking like? No. Really? Shiny, new, and secure postal boxes being installed. While specific details about the enhanced technology are not disclosed due to security concerns, security through obfuscation like this is bullshit. Anybody's going to pay attention to it. Everybody's going to pay attention to it, and it's going to get decanted publicly by people who are security researchers. Lockpicking lawyer is going to have a field day with this if they decide to actually pay attention to it. You can't hide this kind of stuff, because if I look at it, I don't want to find a flaw in something that is being exploited actively. And because they're trying to hide the secret, oh, we're not going to fix that or whatever. The point I'm trying to make is I don't like the idea of security through obfuscation. You can't just hide what the security features are. Straight up tell you that there's motion surveillance and thermal imaging and high resolution cameras and all kinds of stuff, around ohmTown. It's designed so that you can't, hide around it. So it says victims speak out, a quick thievery, preventative measures and advice. There's a little bit in this. Have your mail held, text scammers. They talk about a lot of stuff, but I want to see more involved information about these postal boxes, because it doesn't look like they're actually highlighting them. They just talk about the fact that they're coming. More than 25,000 mail theft incidents reported in the first half of 2023. And then they just go, mail collection boxes have been a prime target for criminals. We're hardening targets, both physical and digital, to make them less desirable to thieves, and working with law enforcement partners to bring perpetrators to justice. I just don't see this. All right. Well, anyway, let's go on. Actually, I need to grab that article and throw it back into the chat. And then the next article is over in Mobile as well, how a minor accounting turned into, I think there's how a minor accounting, this must be a turn of phrase that...
I feel like it's missing a word, but yes, right. It could be just a different cultural statement or something.
Yeah, discrepancy, it should really be there. How a minor accounting discrepancy turned into a
or discovery.
Unlikely spy thriller. This is straight out of Reacher, by the way. A minor accounting discrepancy.
Right, it is.
Right? So in the annals of espionage and intrigue, some of the most astonishing stories often begin with the most mundane of circumstances, such as the case of Clifford Stoll, an astronomer turned systems manager at the Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory in California. A 75-cent error that started it all. So this is a really neat story. Again, Malik Greystone over at The Stock Dork put the article together. And let me summarize really what went down. This is back in the day when shared time computer system accounts, which actually do still exist, usually in large enterprises and academic circles where shared resources take place and you need large computer services. There's a cost accounting. AWS has the same kind of thing, but basically 75 cents disappeared, right? There was something wrong with the accounting. Little did he know, and by he, I mean Clifford Stoll. I've actually heard of this person before. Little did he know that a seemingly inconsequential discrepancy would unravel an international spy ring, expose a German hacker, and demonstrate the profound impact of curiosity and determination in the realm of cybersecurity. So it was 1986. Stoll was asked to investigate a minor financial hiccup, seemed routine, simple error, rounding mistake perhaps. Somebody forgot where something might have been. Some calculation, some operation was run and it was never integrated into the accounting system. Stoll's pursuit of the 75-cent anomaly led him down a digital rabbit hole. Traced it to MIT. They set up a trap. They thought it was a digital vandal, but no ordinary digital vandal. With ingenuity and determination, Stoll devised a clever ruse. He fabricated a counterfeit military database and a fictitious computer network named SDINet. The goal was to ensnare. This is a honeypot. This is referred to as a honeypot. So they used an electronic pager to alert about the hacker's moves, notified them that there was somebody there, codename Hunter. The digital intruder was pillaging U.S. computer systems, pilfering sensitive military and security data. The hacker's keyword searches included ominous terms like nuclear, ICBM, SDI. SDI, a strategic defense initiative, for if you don't know about that one.
And that was also the name of the fake network.
Yeah. Which is kind of like writing, no porn here. Biological warfare and NORAD. Or like labeling a folder totally taxes and it is something else. Even more disconcertingly, Hunter was peddling their classified information to the Soviets. So they involved the DOJ, FBI, and others. Ends up going overseas to West Germany. Entwines KGB. Eventually, the hacker behind the espionage curtain was unmasked as Marcus Hess, a 25-year-old computer science student. In May 1989, Hess, along with 4 accomplices, faced charges of espionage, computer fraud, theft of trade secrets. Their dark dealings had involved the sale of U.S. military and security information to the Soviet Union, yielding them $50,000. So there you go. Dun, dun, dun.
It seems like a very low payout for the crime and the penalty.
For treason?
Right.
Well, no. Actually, they were foreign, so it wouldn't be treason, but it's basically you're going to a dark site and you're going to be black bagged and brought here to be thrown into jail forever. Let's keep on hustling through the news here. Pretty cool. Go check out the Stock Dork. Got one more article from them. Can hot rocks become the future of clean energy storage? It's been cataloged into Mobile. Just this little snippet. You follow the link, you get taken over to the Stock Dork. Malik Greystone is being very, what is it?
Prolific on Christmas.
That is the word I was going to use. My God, get out of my head, sentient AI. Sheesh. Anyway, the whole idea of this is to use hot rocks like geothermal. If successful, Ponix startup Antoro Energy could play a pivotal role in burgeoning multi-trillion-dollar energy storage sector that relies on harnessing solar or wind energy to heat rocks, providing the necessary power for the world's largest factories. So basically, heat up a bunch of rocks and then it stores it. And then emits it. While the term battery may conjure images of chemical cells used in cars and electronics, hot rocks presently store 10 times as much energy as lithium-ion batteries worldwide. It's not capable of runaway. This capability harks back to the 1800s invention known as Cowper stoves, typically found in smelting plants. So you basically throw a whole bunch of heat and all of this heat radiates back out when the temperature inverts. And Tora and other startups are exploring different rock types housed in insulated boxes or using molten salt in cylinders to determine the most efficient combinations. Graphite, an inexpensive and abundant form of carbon found in pencils, has emerged as a promising choice due to exceptional heat retention properties. By the way, there's a form of this that's already been used, basically a solid state battery. You heat it up and it actually starts generating its own heat. But if it gets breached, instead of a runaway like a lithium ion battery basically exploding, the heat leaks out and it shuts down. And all you have to do to fire it back up.
So it sounds much safer.
It's absolutely safer. So this, if it works and they find the right combination of materials, this is a superior product, because it basically becomes inert. And then all you have to do to get it working again is to seal it back up, fire some energy into it so it starts the heating element again, and the heat generates more and more. So they've secured $80 million in seed funding, support with notable investors like Bill Gates. So boom, name drop. So I think that we need to keep on looking at green energy that is portable and defensible, and this is the type of battery that's going to facilitate that. Go over and read this article as well.
Plus, maybe that'll prevent some of the ridiculous lithium mining issues we've seen.
Absolutely. So there you go. There's another article in the chat. Let's keep on going, though. We got 2 more articles to get through. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. This cool hobby could land you in jail, China's spy agency warns. What this really amounts to, though, is people are taking pictures of Chinese military craft. And it's a hobby. Here in the States, it's pretty much frowned upon from certain perspectives, like Area 51, where if you find a hill you can take a picture of something in Area 51 from, you're probably doing something illegal, because they've been expanding the area. If you take a picture of a military plane and it's on a publicly viewable tarmac somewhere, odds on they've done something to obscure the secret, blah, blah, blah material so that nobody else can see it. But you're going to be okay to some degree, right? If somehow you end up inside or near this top secret facility, you take a picture surreptitiously because you have privileged access and you sell it to a foreign agency, then you're going to run afoul of some pretty horrendous.
Yeah, that's going to be a little different situation.
But China doesn't see it this way at all. If you take pictures of any of their military stuff, they're going to ghost you if you rise to the popularity and divulge something that they don't want you to divulge. So they say it's a cool hobby, but be careful. China's State Military Ministry said on Saturday, this is a week ago, in a social media post, that the national security agents had in recent years uncovered a number of criminal cases of military enthusiasts secretly photographing sensitive military equipment. So there you go. That's basically this article. Of course, there is more nuance here, but what it comes down to is, in China, don't take pictures of shit, otherwise you're going to be thrown in jail.
It does look like it was based on internet, so I suspect if they just took the photos and didn't do anything with them,
right,
wouldn't have been much of an issue.
Adil Brar, by the way, is the author of this article over at newsweek.com. I think I forgot to mention that at the beginning of this little rant. Yeah, I mean, China wants to protect everything. Of course. Well, opposite doesn't seem to be true about going and looking at everybody else's shit, but that's okay. So it says here, the agency said that the enthusiasts targeted military installations such as airports and harbors, as well as defense and military industrial facilities. Military installations such as airports and harbors? Military airports? Wouldn't that be bases?
Perhaps. But maybe they're just talking about government-run institutions. I know the government and the military are not the same.
Well, in China they are. It's all owned by the CCP.
Right, so it could be a major airport.
Yeah.
That we would think of as private, but might actually be government-run.
Some drove there specifically or purposefully took ferries or airplanes on nearby routes. Using professional equipment such as telephoto lenses and drones, they continually photographed in secret and were ultimately sanctioned by the law. By the way, I've heard of this happening in Egypt too. Like, don't bring professional photographic equipment into Egypt if you're going to be noodling around over by the pyramids and stuff like that. Apparently it's frowned upon and you will be monitored. That's what I was told. Recent examples of the activity now frowned upon by Chinese authorities included aerial photographs of the PLA Navy's latest aircraft carrier, the Fujian, which was pictured testing a new system to launch next-generation aircraft. I bet you I know where they got that from. The images appeared to be taken from a passenger plane in Shanghai that overflew the shipyard where the Fujian was undergoing fitting out. It's the same damn word. Anyway, there's more to this. Essentially, if you are just somebody that's interested in this stuff, stop posting it online. Don't give anybody the idea that you're selling it somewhere or trying to gain notoriety off of your privileged information. You don't have agency with a government to protect you. So you can basically just be disappeared pretty easy. And somebody's going to go, where did Joe go? He went for smokes. He'll be back in a couple of months. His personality might be changed, but he'll be back. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Major shipping firms are imposing surcharges to reroute ships from the Red Sea attacks. This is just as inflation is starting to stabilize. This is the Piracy creates a toll. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because of the risk of these new pirates that have taken up a much more active role in the Red Sea. Even the U.S. is periodically protecting ships that are traversing the Red Sea. Major shipping companies are imposing surcharges to reroute vessels from the Red Sea. Yemen's Iran-linked Houthi rebels have been attacking vessels in the Red Sea. Business Insider writes this article. Huling Tan is the author of this. And these costs are going to get sent to the customers at some point, one way or the other.
Well,
right?
but also the goods aren't going to make it through. I mean, we've seen other issues in that region, like where we had the ship blocking the Suez Canal. Like, stuff won't make it through, or it won't be shipped, or it'll have to go way around,
Yeah. It says this adds some 10 days to a journey from China to Northern Europe, which typically takes about 27 days. So whatever you think you're going to get, it's not going to get. Maersk is now imposing an extra $200 transit disruption surcharge on a standard 20-foot container traveling from China to Northern Europe. Ships sailing the same route from January 1st would have to pay another $500 in peak season surcharge for a container of the same size. So, I mean, it's going to be pennies per pound, but it's still an additional cost that is taking the money is going to be gone now. That means that it's not making money for the people who are taking the risk in these products getting to market, which means that they're going to squeeze the lemon a little bit harder to get more juice because they weren't making money for the month that $500 is getting pulled out of their pocket. Surcharges could feed into inflation as consumers at a time when price increases are just about stabilizing. I still think that that's bogus. Unless the only way that inflation is stabilizing is if the 1% and the raw materials producers have already squeezed the economy of all of its money that was once in the bank, in the pockets, right? Because there was a certain level of money in the monetary system that was being invested by people, you had to squeeze hard, raise the prices, force them to dump that money into whatever it is that you're selling.
So basically, like if you hit peak inflation, that's the only way that this happens.
Correct. Yeah. That basically it means that there's little to no money left in circulation. It's all been captured by either the top 1% or the suppliers at the source. So it's the two ends as money flows from the people that make a product or service and those who have so much money that they don't need anymore, but they're making money with their money. All of that shit in between is society. Surcharges could feed into inflation. So we'll see. This is the last, this is the last week of December. So 2024 is going to be a whole new perspective. Another metric is going to come out at the beginning of the first quarter of 2024, relating to what the final inflation rate is for 2023. And that value actually changes as more data comes to be known. So we'll see. It says here.
You also might see some updates in the activities occurring in the Red Sea area during that time.
Yeah. Guess we'll see. Maybe they'll start lighting them up a little bit more. Iran? Oh boy. So in November, U.S. consumer price inflation rose 3.1%. Did your paycheck increase? While this was still under the Fed's 2% target, it was significantly below.
No, but did your healthcare premiums go up above 3.1%? Did your food prices go up above 3.1%? Did your salary stay constant or whatever?
Yeah. You basically lost money just to exist. 40-year high of 9.1 in June last year. It's pandemic born though, right? It's the end of the pandemic. Inflation existed because so much money got thrown into the system that all of the greedy bastards jacked the freaking price up. That's what pisses me off about all of this. But that's it. I'm not going to get on to a soapbox. Not this time. You can't make me. We're throwing ourselves into the party bus, going back to the main street and back to the welcome sign. And I'd mash that button, but I've already scrubbed this of any political whatever that might trigger. So I am going to say bye here, and we will be back at the current time, which is December 31st, 2023. We'll be back at 6 p.m. No. Yeah, we'll be back at 6 p.m. to do the final show of ohmTown Daily. And then we're going to jump back into the time machine tomorrow and catch up. We're going to do the rest of the shows. And then at 8 p.m. on Monday, we're going to do the first show of 2024. And if your head is exploding, just imagine I'm doing 10 shows in a time machine, mind you, and then bouncing back every day just to do the nighttime show. My head hurts, folks. That's it. I'm Mayor Watt. That's ohmTown.com. And up there is a sentient AI that is probably handling this a whole lot better than Mayor Watt. So you want to say bye to everybody?
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.